It's another beautiful Tuesday evening, and you know what that means. It is back to Automobilista 2 for another round of the ARL Formula USA 2026 season. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on an absolutely special circuit, one that I think is near and dear to many of our hearts as racing drivers and motorsport enthusiasts. We are deep within Kansai, within Japan. I would say one of the most famous, possibly the most famous Japanese circuit in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is none other than the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. An absolute stellar drive in any car, and I wonder how our drivers tonight are going to tackle it in Indy car machinery. Certainly the first time I've ever seen Indy cars tear around this circuit, and I think it's the same for most of our drivers. We're already into the qualifying session. It is a 15-minute session. As a reminder, the first 10 minutes open to the full field, and this final 5 minutes is our fast six, similar to a proper IndyCar qualifying session. So it will be the fastest six that still get to stay out on track and try to improve their best lap times. We're on board now with Ted Piper, who joined me in the box this past week because he was unable to drive. It was a pleasure having him, but it is a pleasure seeing him back on the circuit, first out of pit lane, first onto the circuit to set the first timed lap of the day, hoping that there's enough temperature for this car to be able to tear around in anger. It is just such a superb circuit. I think one of the true greats. It has a beautiful mix of deep technicality, high speed, high adrenaline. Overtaking is not the easiest, for sure, on this circuit on the best of days. And, well, if we've learned anything from this series, it's not easy in these cars. Well, maybe if you're on an oval, but even then, it's a measured effort to get ahead of another driver. Qualifying is very, very important, but consistency is everything once it comes down to the race time. And it's looking pretty measured from Ted Piper on his first timed lap. Jump back further into the field, see how certain other cars are getting on. Kronos is back this week in one of my favorite liveries that is on the field, which is the 7-11-27 car. Big fan, looks fantastic, and it is a sight to behold. But for those of you who are wondering how the championship is faring after last week, well, good news for fans of Jeff H. Bad news for everybody else, because he has clinched the championship so far. Every single race on his scorecard is a victory. He did get second in round 2. There being a drop round in this 8-round championship, it's first place all the way. Maximum points, 252. He is almost 100 points clear of anybody else. No one is within mathematical contention to win this championship anymore. The victory is his. However, things are very tight once you sort of drop down into, well, second place, quite honestly. Incredibly heavily contested. We have currently Project 0 Hour, better known as Groove Armada, on circuit in second, 157 points to their name. Then we have Sean Stewart and Sloth tied at 153 for third and fourth. Ted is graphic after missing last week, dropped down a bit, 136 points, but Matty Ice at 134, another hotly contested position. Then it's Thiago Lorena in It's No Use in 7th and 8th. Les Ball Obsession, otherwise known as Ryan Cooper, is in 9th, and Deuce Pock is in 10th with 99 points. So, plenty of points still on the board. This is our penultimate round, mind you. Next week we have our finale at the Auto Club Speedway Oval. Looking forward to getting back to another oval race. I'm semi-considering showing up for the event and possibly trying to commentate and drive. That would be interesting. You get one specific view. I don't think anybody told these guys that this is qualifying and not a race session, but they're already getting at it. Let's go on board. See how our guy, Jeff H., is doing. He's already put the fastest time on the board in practice. He was far and away the quickest car. But now we're on low fuel, low drag, high speed. The option tires are the only tire that these cars would consider using. Here he goes to the famous 130R. Easy in machinery such as this, not really having to think about it too much. And when he comes around this time, I'm going to take you on board for a lap. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Suzuka, give you all of its intricacies because, well, it is an intricate circuit for sure. It's a long run down towards the first corner, which is called the first corner. A bit of an interesting line, narrowing his line. And of course, naturally, as I'm getting ready to go on board, Jeff H. decides he's going to pull into the pit lane for a little bit. Let's see. Anybody else getting ready to start a lap? Well, not so with Ted Piper. We'll see if I can locate somebody. Maybe see who's getting ready to go now. I believe our boy Matty Ice is getting ready to start their lap, so we'll see how that looks from them. Sounded like a bit of a short shift on the exit of the final chicane. Here is a more realistic line that you take down towards the first corner. It is a really interesting braking zone because you're braking into a banked, long right-hander. You can take in massive speed. A lot of poise from Matty Ice, and then you enter into the S's, better known as the snake section. Super tricky in just about every car. Most cars, it ends up being a lot of, you know, throttle on, lift off until you make your way up to Dunlop here as you head down towards the fearsome Degner corners. Here's Degner 1, missing the apex just a bit, maybe running a bit wide. Degner 2, one that's, I feel like, the trickier of the two to get super well. Here's the hairpin prime overtaking opportunity into that braking zone, maybe braking a little too late, going a bit too deep. But keeping it all together, 200R now, a flat-out corner on the run towards the spoon curve, braking very late. It's a super awkward corner if you don't really know what you're doing. That apex can often be missed, as it was done by Matty Ice just then, and it's just so hard. It's super important because long straight towards 130R is long. The back stretch, 130R is dealt with as if it wasn't even there. Into the Casio triangle, missing both curbs. I assume intentionally. They would upset an Indy car such as this. Through the last curve, the final corner. Let's see if it's any sort of improvement as it's a long run down towards the line. It is an improvement. Into the 143s for Matty Ice and back up to third position. And just drifting it through for style points. One final minute for those who are on, well, not in the Fast 6 currently. It's fairly close in 5th through 8th. Couple drivers on the bubble. Impressive lap time for Matty Ice to keep him that far ahead. Probably his best qualifying pretty much so far. Ryan Fisher in the Rich Energy car making a bit of a mess of the triangle. Hopefully keeping it a bit on the straight and narrow. We were informed before the race that there's a lot of thunderstorms in the area around Ryan Fisher, so I think the jumping around is something we're just going to have to get used to seeing. Couple more drivers getting ready to cross the line. Next, it's going to be Kronos. It's a big jump to get up to 6th. Can they do it? It is an improvement up to 5th. A massive gain in the closing seconds of open qualifying. A couple cars getting ready to cross the line next. Zigzag Bruno's going to come over. Is unable... Oh, actually, I will say, did set a valid time. A bit off the pace. But they set a valid time, followed by Les Paul of Session. Couple drivers very off the pace in super tricky corner. Here comes Sean Stewart. Can they better their time? This time, no, not quite, but fortunately they are in the top 6. So they can continue on. A couple more drivers still on laps that are outside the top 10. If you start a lap before the 5-minute mark, you are allowed to continue and complete it. It is a long lap, this. Suzuka is a long circuit. So you can spamule, put it up and upset, jump into the top 6 on their final lap. Oh, they can! Bumping Sean Stewart down. I think he's going to have to abort the lap he's on, possibly complete it. But things are changing so much so quickly that I'm not really sure if anybody knows where they're supposed to be. Ryan Fisher going to cross the line, better their time. They did better it, but not enough to gain any position. Still 13th for them. Final couple of laps. Here's second place Merchant now, a driver that we know has pace. Spaniel goes up to 7th. Second place Merchant jumps back up to 6th. Ted Piper also jumped into the top 6 as well, bumping down Kronos Spaniel. Sean Stewart was probably feeling pretty good and is not feeling quite as good now. Because over the course of the lap, gone from 6th to 9th position. But I'm going to assume slightly unprecedented because of the amount of movement that's happened late in the race. Oh, I love this camera angle. Hold on now. I love a good static overhead drone shot, especially in a mix of chicanes like this, but we didn't see what happened on the exit. It's around he goes for Sean Stewart. And a very interesting line to re-enter the circuit. It's probably going to be down pit lane and the end to their session. Well, they missed the pit entry, but they're still going to complete the lap. Trucks in history, the only car still out that's outside the top 10. Well, Sean Stewart's continuing on. So I'm just going to guess that the ruling is that if you were in the top 6 at the 10-minute, you can continue. So that would be why Ted Piper and Kronos are in pit lane, because they set their times after that 5. It is very impressive to see Pacheco and Matty Ice so high up. We'll say one thing about Pacheco is fabulous qualifier, but always struggles in the race session. A lot of mistakes, a lot of crashes that can get the best of them, push them back in the field. So hopefully a good result might come their way. Not an improvement over the line, but they're the closest person to our champion, that is Jeff H. Sean Stewart briefly went round in Spoon Curve and has now decided that's all they got today. 4 more drivers on circuit, and this will be the final laps. Maybe Sloth will have time for one more. I think they might have time for one more. Still a minute on the clock. Jeff H might as well. It is a long, long lap on this fabulous Japanese circuit. But you know, lately I've been enjoying Fuji quite a lot. That's entirely due to how much Le Mans Ultimate I play, and I might like Fuji more, which is kind of surprising. I think Matty Ice might be a little bit in the wall for Matty Ice, struggling out of Degna 2. I really, really like Fuji circuit, and between these two, those are the only 2 Japanese circuits that I think occupies a spot in most of our minds. Sloth actually does not continue qualifying and parks it up. It's just Jeff H now. Is there going to be a final improvement? They already have the pole position. They already have the championship, but one more notch on their belt. Is it going to be a final lap improvement? It is not. It's still a 1:42.8 is the best that he's going to get so far. Matty Ice is still rolling around, but after his spin at Degna 2, I can guarantee that this lap is not going to be a fast one. Maybe a final bit of pit stop practice, a final bit of fettling to sort out what everything's going to be. Let's see if they go down pit road. I would very much assume they do. A little bit of pit stop practice. Pit entry practice. Before the race begins. That is going to be it for qualifying. A few surprises and a lot of shifting around once the final 5 minutes began. It's Jeff H on pole. I don't think anybody's terribly surprised. Anthony Pacheco joining him on the first row. Let's hope that the race goes better or goes as well as qualifying. Matty Ice third, Sloth fourth, second place Merchant in fifth, Piper sixth, Kronos seventh, Spamuel eighth, Stewart ninth, Trucks in History in 10th. And I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to bother trying to read everybody else because I know for a fact I'm going to run out of time because the session is going to switch over. But here are the final 11 cars in qualifying, the final 10 cars, excuse me. And weirdly enough, I was about to say, I feel like I was given enough time, but nope, not today. 40 lap race before our drivers. I do know a full tank of fuel can last as long as 19 laps on a save, maybe 20. Drivers really perfected their saving strategy. The tires, though, are the big question. We have the options. The red walled, the super fast, super grippy, but very short-lasting tires that a lot of drivers seem to prefer. Most of the time, I feel like. I can't say for sure, honestly, with this series and not knowing what tires drivers are on. I pretty much just have to guess. Those options are only slated to really last maybe 10 laps. Possibly less, possibly a little bit more, but somewhere within that window. So if a driver pits, within the first 10 laps, they probably started on options. If they make it to, 16, 17, 18, 19, they're probably not on options. They're probably on the primary tire. And I'm going to assume everybody's gridding up, but is there just we're just leaving a humongous gap through the field. They're gridding single file to start the formation lap. Is traditionally not how you grid up for a formation lap, but who am I to say? Who am I to say? We get underway for the formation. One final moment for drivers to sort out their cars, sort out their strategy. Oh, our pole sitter, I was going to say, he was sitting still for a while. Hopefully penalties don't start getting chucked out. They might be. Let's see. Nope, no penalties so far. That's good. AMS2 has a thing it likes to do where if you overtake during the formation lap, it'll give you sort of a countdown timer. And if you don't go back to your correct position, it will start giving you increments of 2-second penalties over and over and over and over again. It's not very nice. Not very kind. Fortunately, nothing too bad happened. Nothing to hamper anybody's race. Had that in the past, and it's always a bit unfortunate. Bit of a dark cloud hanging over the heads of some of the drivers. But yeah, it's one final moment to settle in and prepare yourself for the 40-lap onslaught. The final circuit of the calendar. Drivers, I'm sure, are checking. Is my pit stop set up? What tires do I want to go on at the end of the stop? Lots of weaving, lots of trying to get temperature into the tire. For me, the formation lap, it's all about focusing the mind. It's all about trying to decide You know, what's my strategy going to be at the start? Am I going to go for positions? Am I going to sort of wait it out, see if there's any accidents early on? Any early cautions that might affect other drivers' race, and how can I not let it affect my own? How can I maximize what I need to do in the first 5 laps? Because in a series like this, the cars are so tricky to drive. The field spreads out very quickly. Those first 5 laps are crucial. You can't make any mistakes. Keep it between the white lines. Drivers now beginning to grid up 2 by 2 all the way down. Bit of off-roading for Kronos. Maybe decided that there's too much heat in the tire, and let's get it covered in a bit of grass. This might very well be the slowest these cars go through 130R today. Maybe there might be a caution. Could be. It's possible. We did go cautionless last week amongst all the weather, and maybe we'll go cautionless this week. Maybe it will just be 40 laps of pure racing adrenaline. The lights are on. They are going to go green at any moment. We are green flag in Suzuka. 40 laps of Japan's premier Grand Prix circuit. A little bit of argy-bargy in the back. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Jeff H, though, sweeping through the first corner with ease. Everybody mostly together. No drivers making big inroads so far. Everybody sort of trying to line up, find their space through the snake section. Not somewhere you want to be side by side with somebody else. But everything holding steady. No one dropping back early. Keeping it clean through the first couple of corners. No one making any early moves, early dives. Everyone seems to be taking it easy. Find your space. Find your line. Run your race. We're going to see his move coming up here from Sean Stewart around the outside in the hairpin. He seemed to have a much better exit than Kronos coming out of Degna 2 and just swept around the outside. You get your braking point right and you're more confident than the car ahead of you. It can be worth a lot. I think Sean Stewart is comfortable at the start of this race, maybe running the option tire where others aren't. Look at the grip coming out of Spoon. Absolutely squared up and flying past Ted Piper. I was advised before this week's race that Sean Stewart was being a little quiet about his pace, maybe underselling the level of setup, underselling their own pace. I think we might be seeing some of that in the beginning. Their first time at full race pace through the Casio Triangle. Not running as wide as everybody else. Looking pretty good, already making up a couple of positions. Early doors. A little bit of movement between Sloth and Matty Ice. They've hold position for the most part. No early incidents. Oh, but look at that. I'm just gonna guess that this is a option tire driver against a primary tired field. Sean Stewart just seems to have limitless grip compared to others. See how he looks going through Dunlop, how close he is into Degna 1. Maybe thinking about another move in the hairpin. We'll see how it looks from the front wing. Maybe a little bit of sliding from Sloth. But kept it together. Not looking quite this time for a move. But it could be coming soon. Another move that could be coming soon. The second place Merchant on Anthony Pacheco. Pacheco qualifying brilliantly. But maybe not having the race pace of our leader and maybe not having the race pace of the second place Merchant. Doing pretty well to fend it off. I think that was an early retirement. Somebody in the wall. I don't know who that was. But I believe we just lost somebody. They were in the backfield. I saw a brief yellow flag in the third sector. And bam, down to 19 cars. We have somebody keeping our eyes on Sloth, Mr. Jaguar's son. And, well, let's see. What do we got? Coming down, completing lap 2. Chasing down the Matty Ice, but also maybe spending a little bit too much time looking in the mirrors. Because that Sean Stewart fellow... Oh, he made a mistake. Oh, no, as I say that. Sean Stewart, I think, had a moment. I'm trying to fight. He clearly went off into turn 1. The Delta was so close, and he lost it all. That early mistake taking him from a promising standing in 6th to a bumbling standing in 15th. So good news for Sloth, not having to look in the mirrors, getting to focus forward on their rival. Second place Merchant has actually dropped back just a bit. Maybe made their own mistake, allowing Matty Ice to reclaim the podium position. I think we're going to be seeing a little bit of a three-way fight here into the third sector. Couple of drivers dropping back early. I think Deucebach and Elbow struggling just a tad. Packs are beginning to form. The lap times are beginning to increase. Sean Stewart just lost another handful of positions. Oh, that's... Wait a minute. That's damage. You see, that steering wheel is not straight. He's falling like a stone. Was it a bit of contact? Was it a little bit of side-to-side with drivers? Because it didn't look like he was in the wall at the end of turn 1. But his race just went from bad to quite a bit badder. Here comes Sloth on Matty Ice. Matty Ice lost the position just a moment ago to second place Merchant. And I think is going to lose another one. Losing one position feels bad. Losing 2 in a couple of corners feels just a whole lot worse. Matty Ice is not out of the fight. That did promote second place Merchant up to 3rd. Sloth up to 4th. I must say, it seems that our guy, Jeff H., is just having another race on his own just a tad early on. Flores ran wide. Zigzag Bruno nailed turn 1. I saw these guys were close, and they're still close. But that mistake, a lot of drivers struggling into turn 1. It is an incredibly difficult corner, tricky braking zone. You are sort of braking and turning, which is something you're not really supposed to do in a race car. Especially not with ABS, not without ABS. It seems to be getting the best of some of our drivers. Ooh, is this Donkey maybe thinking about a move through the hairpin? Didn't quite get the drive out that they were hoping, but Mayoreal's maybe going a bit deep, taking it a bit wide. Les Paul Obsession looking hungry in the back of shot. Maybe not close enough for a move at the moment. We'll see what the driver sees, though slightly different. Les Paul Obsession, Ryan Cooper does in fact race in VR, so a little bit different than what we're seeing right now, but it gives you a good idea. Look at the speed difference. I'm wondering if Mayo Reales maybe lifted off just a tad to let Donkey through. But the overspeed was unbelievable. Here comes Cooper. Maybe thinking about it. I think he got a bit too excited. Maybe got a bit scared by the sudden change of position. Lifted through 130R, lost a bit of time. Match run a bit wide and in through 1. But I think there may be another move coming. And he is a bit wide through Degna 1. There's a nice puddle of gravel on the circuit from other drivers going off there. Matty Ice very, very impressively holding on to the back of Sloth. The driver we know has a bucket of pace, but something has happened to the driver of the 17 car that they've just, I don't know, they found something. here at Suzuka, and let's hope they can hold on to it. Already 5 laps in, no big dramas. Quite yet. There was the drama of Sean Stewart dropping back, getting some damage early on. And unfortunately, they're a couple laps behind the field now. I would say a full course caution could bring them back into contention, but not really. It's just sort of, you know, deal with the hand you've been dealt and keep on keeping on. Maybe something can come your way. Let's elbow briefly. The yellow flag coming out. They were stationary for a while in the hairpin, but they seem to be going just fine. Car seems to be driving normally, tracking straight and true. But I'm very, very impressed by the quality of racing we're seeing so far. A little bit of restraint, maybe. These cars seem pretty well suited to the circuit. That's not surprising. Suzuka is best known for Formula racing, whether that's Formula 1, whether that's the Japanese Super Formula Series. It's one of the premier circuits in both of those championships. And hey, maybe IndyCar needs to make an international stop to Suzuka. That would be unbelievable. And I'm sure everyone would love it. Hasta la Vista Donkey jumped into pit lane this last lap, releasing Zigzag Bruno, and well, they've properly been released. ARG's the next car ahead. Oh, we got somebody stationary coming out of the exit. That is Kronos Round at the exit of the hairpin, stuck in the grass, having to wait to re-enter the circuit till cars have cleared. Rejoining safely, which is important. Very important. Ooh, Zigzag Bruno maybe just getting a little bit out of shape, a little bit distracted by the awkward line that ARG took. Thought they could sneak in a little bit. Oh, but who's that going slowly on the side there? That's Flores. Maybe carrying some yes, carrying some damage. That could only be described as absolutely battered. I do not think steering is functional to any degree. That is not gone well. They're just going to be wall riding back to pit lane. I mean, it's only a couple of corners to get there, but it's going to feel like an absolute age. Kronos is now next to enter pit lane, maybe scalding the tires just a bit after the first couple of laps. I think we're going to see some pit stops here and there. His option tire is beginning to expire. Just a tad. But I tell you what, our champion is driving like one. Jeff H absolutely cruising, not pushing the car too hard, making his tires last. I'm sure making his fuel last as well. Oh, that's the 19 car of Flores. The safety car is out. We're under full course yellow. I was going to say, that car was not moving for quite some time and is now retired from the race. Flores maybe blowing the engine in the middle of 130R. So we do have our first full course caution. Jeff H has now come down pit lane. I would be surprised if the entire field doesn't take this opportunity to pit. It is the perfect time to do it. Here's Sloth in, second place Merchant just behind. We're going to just see a flurry of stops. Pit crews absolutely working it. Is anyone brave enough to stay out? I was thinking maybe Trucks in History thought about staying out, but decided not to. I mean, track position could be worth something. Maybe not quite enough to be worth staying out. Someone laying down some serious smoke. Get a driver's eye view of what a pit stop looks like. They are incredibly quick. I'm going to assume Trucks in History took tires there. Maybe doing a bit of repair work as well. But the pit crew didn't seem to put on tires. Granted, I don't think the animation actually can happen fast enough to support how quick these pit stops are. I mean, they're sub 4 seconds. Thereabouts. It's not that much fuel that needs to go in. Tire change is quick. Not quite the sub 2 second you see in Formula 1, but is still very fast. The entire field having pit, pretty much resetting the strategy. Maybe a couple cars would have stayed out. I would assume Stewart stayed out just a bit, making up some ground. A couple of cars are stationary for a while. Crazy Mittens is still in the pit lane, not moving just yet. Everybody beginning to meet behind the safety car. If I were to make a guess, it would be such that we have this lap and then one more behind the safety car. So we should go green in a while. It is a long lap, and the safety car is not going quickly. So, but that gives drivers plenty of time to get up there, get through. Maybe well, I was gonna say maybe a wave around happens, but I don't think there's gonna be any wave around since Jeff H is at the lead of the queue. Nobody is ahead of them. Crazy Mittens still in pit lane. Must have been massive damage on that in lap. We'll see. They're coming to this safety car. Does seem a bit like Sean Stewart's maybe a little bit impatient. Possible wave around gonna come their way, and they're like, let me get up to the queue. There is no overtaking during a full course yellow, as I'm sure many of you know. Most of the field getting ready to catch up. Mittens is finally out of pit lane, and that does mean, I believe, that Stewart's going to have a sparring partner once we go green. Granted, there's going to be a lot of traffic between them and an extra position. But nonetheless, I just missed a trick there. We're completely back to green flag, and I just entirely missed the restart. I was almost certain that they were going to go around for one more. The AMS2 safety car doing its thing and being the least predictable bit of racing software in the entire world. And I looked ahead and I was like, well, the 20 car's back in the pits. That's the safety car. Second place Merchant, though, taking the restart as an opportunity to take back his favorite position. Does so in the braking zone of Spoon Curve. Does Pacheco maybe have the pace on the exit? I don't think so. A good, respectful racing to be seen there, for sure. But, oh, here comes Sloth, having the run. Oh, please tell me, I was going to say, please tell me they're not about to go too wide through 130R. That never ends well. Sloth is in the hunt. Matty Ice, though, not having the greatest restart. But definitely still holding with the pack. Jeff H with the phenomenal restart, as we've come to know and love. See what it looks like from the front wing, what it's like to be chasing down a podium through the snake. It's a really good idea of under race trim how Sloth goes about tackling this section of corners. A lot more downshifting that I would expect. I suppose that's not too surprising. Losing a bit of time, though, in that sector. Maybe struggling a bit. Aero wash off the back of Pacheco's car could be a factor. Maybe a lack of tire temp after going around slowly for a couple of laps. Who's to say? Here's Trucks in History hunting down Spamuel. The gap's been coming down fairly steadily through the restart. Getting pretty close. Maybe struggling a bit through Spoon Curve. Getting the better exit, though, for sure. Obviously not going to be close enough for a move through 130R. Not through the Casio Triangle, but maybe. See a run down to turn 1. And I think a little bit of a wiggle for T&H on the exit. The gap is pretty stable at half a second, or between half a second and a second. Lots of short shifting happening, I've noticed, by listening to these cars. Which is not surprising at all. As a reminder, no traction control, no ABS, just 700 odd horsepower, a very lightweight chassis, and the driver to tame it all. Sloth is still behind Pacheco, who's just having an absolutely phenomenal first quarter of their race. I do genuinely hope this keeps it up. This is pace that's been unlocked, consistency that's been unlocked here in Japan. I don't know, I think it's something in the air. For sure. We have Groove Armada on the back of Mayor Reales coming out of Spoon. We'll see what that slipstream looks like coming to 130R. Mayor Reales goes defensive. Oh, they're going to do it. Oh, they're going to do it. They're going to go too wide. Well, no, maybe not. The overlap was up and under before they even got to 130R. I thought for a moment we were going to see a bit of a too wide maneuver. And we saw this earlier on in the race. Someone got hampered through 130R, and soon came another car. Here's MARG. Sorry, I'm completely mistaken. That is a back marker. That is Sean Stewart on the back. I was trying to find out who it was and where they were to try to overtake, but it's the man who had it difficult early in the race, made a mistake, had some damage, is now scrabbling back through the field trying to unlap themselves. Definitely has some pace. For this section, you just have to wait. Well, that's not helpful. I was hoping it would show the gap ahead, but no, of course. Getting a lap down. Pasta Visa Donkey's actually in the pits. Yet again, we saw them box early. Got lap 6. We're doing it again. Bit of a lockup. Just ahead. Oh, he got on the power just too early, and now he's desperate to get out of the way. A yellow flag in the hairpin. Drivers needing to be careful, and it's bad. Worse news for Sean Stewart. He thought he had the run on the exit, but just tickled that throttle. A little too hard, a little too early. And around it goes. And time lost. Pacheco's been dispatched by Sloth. And I know that just happened because these two are still fiercely going at each other. Pacheco does need to be careful. Expends a little bit too much time, a little bit too much effort. Could be joined by the ghost of Matty Ice, the driver in 5th. Just tickling the throttle. Coming up over the hill. These cars all do look very composed. I think a lot of our drivers doing their due diligence and getting the car set up pretty well. Seem pretty stable. Wouldn't say they seem easy to drive, but look all right. They look all right to me. But I do think Sloth just has a greater amount of pace at the moment. Matty Ice. Oh, Matty Ice did. He dropped down. What has happened there? He's now dropped down to 8th. That was at the exit of the hairpin, I think. Maybe getting a little bit loose on the exit, losing a bit of time. But they were in the hunt for 4th. And have now dropped back to 8th. So now is the time where I get to say one of my favorite phrases about racing, which is racing is all about fine margins. The tiniest inputs can change fortunes. Maybe, push the pedal a 1/10 of a second too early, pushed it 10% too far, and round it goes. I've missed another trick. Ryan Cooper, Rest Ball Obsession, is up to 7th. I'm wondering if they might have stayed out for the safety car, trying a bit of a strategic wonder in hopes of gaining a bit of track position, sorting a bit of extra time. It seems to have worked pretty well. Up a fair few positions, holding reasonable pace. I think those tires are wearing a little bit thin because here comes Matty Ice following heavy through the Degnas. Here's Degna 2 if he dispatches it well enough. I was gonna say he might have a move into the hairpin. Ryan Cooper's in the gravel, and through goes Matty Ice. Even before the hairpin. Oh, but he goes a bit deep. Goes very deep. There's Les Paul coming right back at him, maybe not having the rear traction out of the corner to stay ahead, being on the inside of the corner, staying off the rubber as he was. Had to work for it maybe a bit more than he was expecting. Did Matty Ice, but he's up a position after the drama last lap. And I think we have another car, Mayor Reales, next to be in the struggle bus that is the hairpin traction zone. Everything's beginning to spread out for the most part. Look at lap times, check any penalties. We do have some penalties. Some time penalties. Perhaps for speeding in the pit lane. I was a betting man. But the fastest lap, and I don't think it's terribly surprising, goes to our race leader, Jeff H. Absolutely just hammering away. Another driver who's hammering away despite the predicament is Sean Stewart, the driver at the back of the field, is now gaining to retake 17th to pass the wooden spoon to another driver. He said, I don't want to have the honor of being last anymore. I would like to be not last anymore. Kronos is the car they are chasing. Kronos, though, we do know has a lot of pace, so it's not going to be like catching a back marker, but Kronos goes very wide. Well, actually, no, that wasn't Kronos. I do, in fact, believe that that was Mr. Zigzag Bruno. I saw a green car, thought it was the 7-Eleven machine, but it actually wasn't. It was the other green car, the one that's in 11th. Just taking a, shall we say, unique line through Dunlop. Ooh, it's getting close here through 200R. Surely he's not going to go for a move in the braking zone of Spoon. No, he's not. But he's going to put all the pressure he needs to. This exit is everything. It's do or die. Oh, he gets a little bit squirrely. But so does Kronos. Maybe he's close enough. We know the slipstream is powerful coming down this back straight. Oh, he's not quite there, but he's gonna try it. Oh, it's a bit of contact going into 130R. The door was shut in his face. He thought about going around the outside, and Kronos said, I will not allow that. Not today. And it's in the pits immediately for Sean Stewart. Maybe the tires are dead. He did stop early on. Maybe he sustained a little bit of damage from that he wants to remove immediately. Find himself some fresh track to race on. We'll see. I don't think he did any damage repair. It was a scheduled stop. Maybe he was on a set of option tires and wanted to take those off, losing a bit of time, losing a bit of pace. Back out on to the circuit. 16 laps down, and Jeff H. being treated by my new favorite camera shot on the circuit. He's just skating through the triangle, round the final curve, and very comfortably in the lead. 9 seconds this lap, but edging away, managing the pace for sure, steering comfortably. But here comes Mr. Cooper on the back of Groove Armada. Yes! A perfect time to have this shot. Good job, automated trackside camera system. You're wonderful. Getting to see a handful of cars come through there. See how close they got in the braking zone, how different they tried things. See what it looks like yet again from Ryan Cooper's point of view. Oh, but he just brakes way too late, misses his point into one, and just slams that car into the barrier, the gravel trap, doing nothing to slow that car down at that speed. And that is not quite a race-ending injury, but certainly a race-ruining one. That's going to be a long in-lap for Cooper. He saw the light, that being the back of this very yellow Formula USA car, and just saw too much. Broke a little late, got a little bit distracted, waited not even half a second too long to hit the brakes, and it was too late. But it is good news for Groove Armada. Maybe a little phew, an audible sigh of relief. Doesn't have to worry about that and can focus forward, try to catch up. Crazy Mittens went around briefly, had a bit of an issue through the hairpin. There's a drinking game here. Take a shot every time there's a yellow flag because of something that happened in the hairpin. There's already been 5 at least, so you know, maybe get to it. I'm not gonna start. I'll take a sip of my water. Refreshing. Curious to see what Kronos has on Crazy Mittens. Certainly saw, well, you can see the distance between the two coming through the triangle. I mean, I'm sure he saw the yellow flag, saw the Delta start to come their way at the end of the race, or at the, at the end of the second sector at that hairpin, but not really gaining as much as I might have expected. This is a driver who's running up in the top 6, top 7 positions early on, but, you know, maybe carrying a bit of damage, carrying some old tires, not quite having the pace to go. Some yellows in the triangle. Our race leader is going to deal with that easily. It was Mr. Cooper finally getting back to pit lane following their crash at the exit of turn 1. Or, well, not even at the exit. I'd say at the braking zone of turn 1. is a more realistic definition of that incident. But it was just an incident. Fortunately, no one was harmed. Matty Ice seems a little bit more back on the hunt after their spin. And I've just realized something. We did lose a second driver early on, and I've only just realized who that was. It was Ted Piper. Not sure why, not sure where, possibly some connection issues. I know I saw a brief yellow flag early in the race, and boom, there the car went. But I've just realized Ted Piper is no longer in this race, and that is super unfortunate for them. They missed last week's race, and, well, they'll take home a couple of points if they're able to stay in the session before the race ends, but nowhere close to what they need to come back towards the podium for this championship. Sloth, though, is the big winner in that fight. If this race were to end now, which obviously it isn't, we are hitting halfway in a second. They will jump up to second in the championship, which is the highest honor you can get at the moment. As Jeff H has just gone and snatched the championship. So far, speaking of, he's in pit lane now. Taking a scheduled stop, maybe bolted on a set of options after the safety car. We are only 12 laps after that. Maybe didn't throw in too much fuel, didn't want to lose too much track position. Down into third. It's about a 35-second delta coming into pit lane and coming out again for a normal stop. Checo also went in. Trucks in history in pit lane as well. So I think the scheduled stops are starting to come thick and fast at half distance. Now the question is it an option strategy? Is it take the primaries? And if fuel, the full tank of fuel on a good solid fuel save can get you 19 laps. So if I were them, I'd stretch 2 sets of options. So you're gonna have to make another pit stop anyways. You may as well be on the quicker tire. But that is merely the ramblings of a fool who doesn't race anymore. Wow, I shouldn't say that. I don't race in this IndyCar series anymore. I'm retired in shame. Gaps coming down maybe a little bit for Matty Ice. Sort of stabilized between the pair. Clicking all the wrong buttons. You have a bit of a fight happening between Elbow and Zigzag Bruno. Merchant's in pit lane from the lead of the race. Took that from Jeff H last lap. Was able to stretch their tires in one more lap. Jeff H has retaken the honor of leading. Spamuel has been promoted after staying out just a little bit longer. They're happening. I think the option tires may be the preferred race tire for most of the field. Gap is coming down. Zigzag Bruno is not zigzagging, but driving in straight lines. Well, not straight lines, racing lines. Oh, it's a bit deep for Elbow, and it's a bit deep for Zigzag Bruno. Both making the same mistake into the triangle. Really, that's a good camera angle for stuff like that. I'm a big fan of that camera angle. Thank you, Reza Studios, for giving us that camera angle, but not anything else that this game desperately needs. just giving us more cars, which is cool. But maybe some stability, maybe some server improvements, maybe some broadcasting tools. You know, it's just a thought. But as I'm yapping, Elbow is in pit lane. Zigzag Bruno doesn't have to work hard for the overtake, because it's happened completely on its own. Fortunately, another close fight between Deuce Spock and MARG now for the 10th position, now that Elbow's taking their pit stop. I'm wondering... Go on board here, because I have a theory. That is a driver on controller. That is gamepad inputs. I can guarantee it. The speed at which those inputs are coming on steering, that is 100% someone driving on a controller. And just to be clear, nothing wrong with that. One of the fastest drivers I know their nickname is the fastest hands in the West, because they are extraordinarily fast on gamepad, especially on ACC. There's not really any smoothing to the animations like there is in AMS2. The wheel just snaps all over the place, so it looks like they have the fastest hands in the West. But Mr. ARG, oh, well, that's Zigzag Bruno rounds. It's a couple freebie positions for these two. But bad news coming out of the triangle for them. But yeah, that's a controller driver. And in a car like this, that's unbelievably tricky. Your inputs are so fine. I mean, you have triggers, there is travel. But to consistently not lock up the wheels... Now these are... Yeah, now... In case any of you were unsure if I was just making stuff up. No. It's super impressive keeping it together. Keeping the tires from locking up consistently. I feel like those front tires, though, have got to just be cooking with the unique driving style that comes with it. Hey, it's time for another shot. So we have another yellow flag. It's Hasta La Vista Donkey. Deep in the hairpin. I have taken my shot. Have you taken yours? The field is, honestly, I'm impressed. It hasn't spread out as much as we've seen in other rounds. Certainly not like we saw last week in the rain. That was unbelievable. I think only 3 cars ended up finishing on the lead lap. It is a very long circuit, Suzuka. So it maybe changes it just a little bit, but I mean, we have 12 cars, I believe, still on the lead lap. Actually, no, we have 11 cars on the lead lap. Our in 12th recently got lapped by our race leader. So now watching this car dart around, and you can see the driver on the offboard just wrenching at the steering wheel, trying to get it going, is it's giving me life right now. I'm very appreciative of that. Little palate cleanser. This is butter smooth wheel and pedals input. It's one of the things I love about sim racing as a hobby, is the barrier of entry is actually not steep at all. I think the common, misconception is, oh, you need to spend, $200, $300 to get, the cheapest wheel and pedals. You gotta, you could desk mount it, or you gotta get like a stand. You gotta, spend a bunch of money. That's absolutely not true. It's not very forgiving, but there are certainly There's certainly driving on gamepad. That is 100% an option. Some people prefer it. Some people still do it to this day. They never move to a sim setup. That could be because they're comfortable on gamepad. It could be a space restriction thing. They don't have room to put a wheel down and, you know, get your chair out. HFH, though, showing us how it's done dealing with traffic. Going in cautious, but clean through the final couple of corners. Getting past the next handful of cars. Yeah, basically no barrier of entry. Don't talk yourself out of any racing games because you don't have a wheel. Don't let anybody talk you out of playing a racing game because you're not on a wheel. Because if they're doing that, that's not the point. The point isn't to spend a bunch of money and feel like you're cooler than everybody else. The point is to have fun. It's to have fun. These two are definitely having a bit of fun. This is the fight for second. Merchant is all over the back. A Spaniel, who I think I'm realizing is staying out a very long time, and clearly tires are suffering for it. Because of the nature of the circuit, second place Merchant can't really get by. There's an IndyCar shaped roadblock. He's doing all he can. He's going defensive into Degna 1. Goes a bit wide. Merchant, though, waiting for the perfect moment to overtake. It's going to have to be in the hairpin. Is Spaniel going to go defensive? Oh no. Second place Merchant doesn't commit as much as I was thinking. Spaniel has the rear grip. Next best opportunity. Certainly the safest. Coming out of Spoon. On the back straight. Tickling the throttle just the right amount. Staying in the slipstream. I think this is just about done and just about dusted for second place. Spaniel staying out on an alternate strategy, maybe running the primes for a long time in hopes of the track position. And it is a slower tire, but not that slow. Held up the second place Merchant for several laps. I think, yep. Down pit lane goes Spaniel. Thinks that, maybe just going a little bit too slow. Pace is not quite there. Let me get these old, crusty, whatever they are off. It could be options. It could be primes. I have no idea. No way for me to know. I'm going to be dropping like a stone down the order. Our next closest fight is between these two. It's either that or it's the battle for fifth. Between Matty Ice and Sloth. Matty Ice slowly chipping away at that gap for a while now. Maximo doing a bit of weaving on the back straight before 130R. Maybe not quite intentionally. But, you know, maybe wiggling their joystick just a little bit too much. We are 26 laps into this Grand Prix, the Driver's Choice Grand Prix. I just realized I completely forgot to mention. The thing that makes this round just a little bit more special is drivers were given a choice between 4 circuits at the beginning of the season to decide what it was going to be. I cannot remember what those choices were, and it would take some doing to find the poll that was posted in Discord however many years ago. Not years, weeks, however long. Feels like years. But I do know that this circuit was the winner, obviously, since we're here. the gap's coming down. I tell you what. The gap is coming down. Next up, just ahead on circuit, Sean Stewart's still making their play to get back a couple more positions as valuable championship points. And this could spell a bit of disaster for a podium. Every point counts, every position that can be gotten in the last 14 laps of this race. That's 13 laps of this race. It could be the difference. I mean, the only comfort, I suppose, is that the other rivals, which is Groove Armada. It's sipping time. I think that was Meo Realis that was round at the hairpin, but super good on traction exit. Super clean, super well judged against Bruno. Up another position. And the best part is, Elbow is not too far ahead. I mean, 13 seconds is 13 seconds, but it's not laps down. Their car is sort of falling back into Sean's hands. He might actually... Well, no, he's not quite going to get this position here. I was thinking Trucks in History was coming out of, was rolling down pit lane. I was like, oh, maybe. But the goalpost just got a little bit shorter in terms of how much further they need to go for the next overtake. It's now down to about 5 seconds, 6 seconds. A top 10 finish is absolutely on the cards for Sean Stewart. That will keep them within range of a podium, of a hope for podium. These two, though, the controller wizard of Maximo versus Deuce Pac, it's been festering between the two. Well, I was gonna say it's been festering, but it's over for the moment. Neutralized by a pit stop from Deuce Pac, up to 8th for the fastest hands on Suzuka in a Formula USA car at 10:29 p.m. February 17th. Didn't say fastest hands in the West. That honor belongs to one of my good pals, the person who taught me that controller gamepad sim drivers are ridiculously fast. But they race in LMU now. They moved on from ACC to LMU, and they're still faster than me in a GT car. Not faster than me in a hypercar or a prototype, though, because haha, no ABS. Haha. I have a brake pedal. Haha. And only for that reason. Here's Mr. Jeff H. coming to lap his next victim. There are no blue flags in IndyCar, as a reminder. No get out of the way. And actually, I'm realizing as I say that that's our race leader coming to lap him. That's actually not true. That's the other car in the orange, in a orange livery, I should say. But I think there's going to be a little bit of... Oh, I thought maybe there's going to be a little bit of contention between the two, but I do believe that that's... Is that Crazy Mittens? No? Maybe? No. I don't know who that is. I can't see the number on the track map, and I have no other way to know. I feel like such a fool. Actually, that could be... Oh, no. It's... But it's not. Oh. It is Crazy Mittens. I was right. Yeah. I'm a professional. I was right. Yeah, that was Crazy Mittens coming to lap. My goodness. Sean Stewart has already caught up to these two that were fighting. I was looking on the track map and I thought certainly no way. That's one dispatched on the back stretch. Maybe another one gonna be dispatched to the triangle, maybe not so. But this is Trucks in History. I know that that is Ryan Cooper's livery. Oh, it's down pit lane for Sean Stewart again. I think he's running primes and absolutely ripping them to shreds in hopes of coming through the fields. I would expect some some pit stops from our top 5 should be coming soon. I only say that because they stopped about 10 laps ago if they were running options. You know, I'm just clairvoyant. Or I just have a basic understanding of, you know, what's going on. But that's in pit lane from the leader. He might actually have gained enough of a gap to actually come out ahead. I don't think so, though. I think second place Merchant, if he doesn't come down pit lane, might inherit the lead. Potentially not. No, not even. Wow, not even close. Jeff H. already back on circuit. I think the pit lane delta, I was told, might have been slightly wrong, or I'm fundamentally misunderstanding how racing works. All the goodwill I gained from sounding smart, I lost immediately. Second place Merchant, though, living up to their name. Jeff H. living up to their title as reigning champion. You know, you'd think, you know, championship's over. You know, the math is their way. They've won every race they've needed to win. Only comes second in round 2. Everything else was an out-and-out victory. You'd think, maybe take it easy. No. Well, I think this is taking it easy. This is what taking it easy looks like for Jeff H. An absolute maestro behind the wheel of the Formula USA car. Having taken their last pit stop, I would imagine, perhaps a caution could throw something into the mix. But I think the last pit stop from Jeff H. I think second place Merchant's going to come down pit road soon for their final stop. We'll see. The podium position, though, it's a bit contested right now. 8 laps remaining, and 2 seconds either way for 4th. Anthony Pacheco doing an absolutely incredible job holding it together for this race so far. None of them going down pit road yet. I think Anthony Pacheco's tires have all but disappeared. Just that last lap, losing a 1.5 seconds really in the final sector. Trying to make it long enough so that their final stop can be won on options, having pace. But as we saw earlier from Spamuel's defense with dying tires behind second place Merchant, it's not easy to overtake. It's everything in the traction zone. If you get a good exit, you can be as slow as you want into it. Into a corner. You just need to be quick out. It's going to be, I'd say, the second most important traction zone coming up, which is the exit of the hairpin. Sloth needs to be careful, though, because Matty Ice is close behind. If he loses enough time... Oh. He's gonna get company on both sides. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, very quick coming in for Sloth. That's gonna hamper his exit pretty heavily. They're equal coming out, but the slipstream might just be a little bit too strong, but oh, the straight's running out. Pacheco's going to hold on through 130R. Oh, but look at the overspeed, maybe coming into the braking zone. No, nobody's seeming brave enough to dive in into the entry of the Casio Triangle, but it's over the entry curb, the mid curb in the triangle, bumping over that. Pacheco loses out. Some valuable time. Into pit lane he goes, but that is some valuable race time. You know, that second or two going over that curb, that could be the difference between Sloth coming out behind or Sloth coming out ahead. We did just lose another car. Not sure who it was, but I did just see the board on the left updating. I wonder... Well, no, that yellow flag is because of Hasta La Vista Donkey, not because of the car we just lost. So we're down to 17 cars. Which, if you asked me before the race whether we'd still have 17 cars 33 minutes into the race, I would have told you no, probably not. I think 7 rounds into this race, so many of our drivers have come such a long way. I know a lot of them, it was their first foray into these cars in this sim, and for many, pretty much all others, out of the first time on a lot of these circuits for them. They've really, you know, gained a lot of experience, gained a lot of pace. I think I know who we just lost. I think it was Sean Stewart. We did lose Sean Stewart. One mistake too many. He's out of the race. He was showing promise coming back through the field for some vital points, but not so. Let's see, will Sloth or Matty Ice go down pit lane at the end of this lap? Matty Ice does. Sloth stays out. He's running his tires a little bit longer. It gives Anthony Pacheco time and track to get his tires up to temperature, his options fired up and pushed on for a bit of an undercut. It's the undercut versus the overcut that will decide the podium. That could very well decide the podium. "34 laps down, 6 to go. Jeff H, a commanding lead. Nobody could stop him. Nobody's gonna stop him. An incredible, incredible performance in this championship. Netting a victory 2 rounds before the end. Didn't even need 7. Didn't need all 8 rounds to make the decision. He needed 6. And he's just put in a lap improvement. He's gone to a 43.8, which is close enough to some of the quicker qualifying times. And that is on a loaded car, on a busy circuit, on used tires. Jeez. Importantly, though, after Matty Ice's pit stop, they did come out behind Anthony Pacheco, so the undercut at least worked on them. Somebody getting right out of the way. It's Groove Armada getting right out of the way. Oh, we got a little too out of the way. Got a little too out of shape. Adegna, too. Doesn't have to worry too much. Has a large gap between themselves and any position behind. Unfortunately, not too costly. See what the gap looks like through a lap. Sloth is still staying out. I wonder I wonder, did Sloth maybe go long on a set of primaries? Or is going long on a set of primaries? I mean, the fuel can last up to 19 laps, but I don't think Sloth's fuel saving, but could find a lot of pace on the slower tire. Wouldn't really make sense to run it this long. Because, I mean, the optimal life of the option, I think, is around 6 laps. So it wouldn't make sense to run it this long, to run it this far. It's about 15 seconds between Pacheco and Sloth. Spamula, we know, goes long. I think is going to try to make it to the end as well. So a bit of a mountain to climb for Mr. Saturday. I say Mr. Saturday because a regularly fantastic qualifying performance followed by a not as fantastic race performance. That is not so today. 6 seconds to catch up to Spamula for 4th, and a bit more to catch up to Sloth. Merchants boxed from 2nd. Out of the pit lane already. 3 seconds to catch up to Sloth, who's now been promoted to 2nd. I mean, if Sloth is able to put up enough of a defense, a 4-lap long defense, I'm just saying, it could be an incredible result. Could be an incredibly smart strategy result. That's something that this season has brought out that the previous iteration didn't, is actual race strategy. That Spamule just ahead. There's a back marker between, or excuse me, that's Sloth just ahead, between a back marker between them and 2nd place Merchant. Merchant's, well, not gonna have to work too hard to deal with that. The defense begins. Half a second between the two. At the end of 36. Oh my lord, the overspeed. I don't think Sloth is gonna fight it. I don't think Sloth has the grip to fight it. Is it gonna be a late pit stop? Surely not. It's not a late pit stop, but that car does not seem to have a lot of pace in it right now. The gap now a lot less. Sub 10 seconds, closer to 8 seconds between Pacheco and Sloth for the podium. It's strategy versus speed. Laps are counting down. There's not a lot of time. The most important thing for Pacheco right now is to stay out of trouble, to clear the traffic, clear Spamule extraordinarily quick. That's the kind of time loss that maybe he couldn't afford. Spamule, though, is also pulling a very neat trick with their strategy. They seem to have gone long pretty much everywhere. Kevin, yes, I did know that I went live on this channel. YouTube went down, and I couldn't go live anywhere else, so I'm live here now. Why are you, I was gonna ask why you're awake, but I know the answer. But yes, zoomies. Oh, it's Spamule around through Spoon, but he gets going again. Oh, that made Pacheco's life a whole heck of a lot easier. But can he do 5 seconds in 3 laps? 3 and a bit laps. I'm realizing my lap math has been quite poor. It's been a really, really good race. I wasn't sure what to expect. You know, Suzuka Indy cars. I think after last week, something happened. I think getting put in the rain, all these drivers seem to mature a lot. It's fantastic to see them here. Oh, it's Sloth. Sloth went around. He went deep in the snake just before Dunlop. And not only did he lose the podium, he lost another position to Matty Ice. Anthony Pacheco is on the podium. Oh, that car's damaged too. Oh. That's not gone well. Hopes of a fantastic result dashed in an instant. Oh. Racing is all about fine margins, and Suzuka, when it bites, it doesn't bite, it chomps. It will take your leg if you're not careful. But that went from hopeful to guaranteed in a couple of corners. First, Spamuel, the first roadblock, the first hurdle, went off in Spoon Curve. Second, Sloth went off in the Snake, promoting Mr. Saturday up to a podium, maybe not having to work too hard. 2 more laps to keep it together. Matty Ice close behind. But the gap has really not closed since the pit stop. I think these two are just about equal on pace, if not Pacheco just a little bit further ahead. But no one's anywhere close to Mr. Jeff. 77. 77 is really important. I wonder, you know, I think tonight's the night I'm going to ask. In our post-race interview, I'm going to ask Mr. Jeff H. where the 77 comes from. And if I hear any other answer than, well, I just kind of picked a random number, I will be surprised. It does feel like a pretty random way to, or a pretty random number. It's not a date. It could just be their chosen race number. I don't know. My racing number is 23 because that's what my number ended up being when I played sports when I was younger, almost every time. It's not because I really like Michael Jordan. No, it's just because my number happened to be 44. Kevin, that is the only way to say Jeff. 77. Could be born in 77, but I have a theory based on their voice. I would say that they are under the age of 30. So, could be born in 77, but based on the limited information I have, which is really just their voice. Is that something else I need to ask? I need to ask the legal date of birth of Jeff H. Mother's maiden name. 3 funny digits on the back. I want to ask about that. Final time through 130R. For Jeff H. Final lap in Suzuka. The man's already a champion. But, well, clearly he didn't feel the need to celebrate too early. Because he's only gone and done it again. By a huge margin. With massive ease, it's Jeff H. taking the checkered flag at Suzuka. Seems like there's a bit of carnage happening yet again. The 13 car Zigzag Bruno is stationary on their final lap. Uh-oh. Oh no, not a retirement on the final lap. I think that car was missing the correct number of wheels. Groove Armada's gonna come across the line in 6th. That's a car that's backwards. That's the 7-Eleven machine. That's Kronos. Backwards. Come on. All we had was one more lap. All you had to do was a couple more corners. Second place Merchant crosses the line in second. We're actually going to end the race on a full course yellow because why not? Cross comes Deucepock in seventh, followed by Sloth in eighth. What could have been? Not for the early mistakes. Trucks in history crossed the line. Well, now in eighth. They've been promoted. I think somebody disappeared. Oh, maybe not. Or I'm just misreading things. I don't know. I'm going to call it as I see it. Seventh for Sloth, eighth for Trucks in history. Everyone is stuck behind the wingless Kronos. Oh, you thought it would be finished in style. This is certainly a style, and round he goes. Through goes Anthony Pacheco. Welcome to the podium. It's about time. Anthony Pacheco crosses the line in third. Matty Ice is in fourth, and Spaniel is in third. I've seen a lot of race finishes. That's a new one. That is a new one. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff H prevails yet again. Our champion is still championing. And I would give you the results, but somebody quit to menu a little bit too fast. I'm looking at one specific man, that being Mr. Ted Piper, but that's okay. I will we'll look at his car. I do like his livery. Oh, never mind. We're just gonna look at okay. It's doing a thing again. In any moment now, we should be welcoming our podium sitters or a little bit of post race interview. I'm sure they're going to give a small amount of congratulations to everybody else before they come in for a little chat. Usually we have a little bit more time, but it was an exceptionally good race. Very impressed. I'm very impressed by the lack of carnage, if I'm honest. I mean, I was going to say we only had one caution early in the race, but we had two. But it happened on the last lap. I don't know if it really counts. It's pretty funny. I did enjoy it. But it was an ending in style. Here's the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, our champion. He would have been here regardless. We told him he can come in for an interview, whether or not he finished on the podium, but that doesn't matter because he only went and won the race anyways. Congratulations on the championship. Congratulations on the victory in Suzuka. How did that feel?
Thank you very much. Felt good. It's that car is just so much fun at this track. Man, I could lap that forever. That was great.
They look surprisingly composed coming around because I'm like most people haven't driven an Indy car around Suzuka, but I mean everyone sort of seemed reasonably composed, reasonably comfortable. I mean, I could tell you were immediately pushing for lap time to the very end. Was it? I assume was it. Did you start on primaries or did you start on options? Because I know you're. I feel like you were running primes for most of the race or options for the most of the race.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
I started on options and then did 3 stints of primes at about 10 or 11 laps each.
Huh. I was entirely wrong then.
Oh, yeah, I usually start on them. They just warm up quicker and yeah, you can get a better start. I don't have to wait 2 laps for for them to warm up. Yeah, and just ride it out the rest of the way. But
You,
yeah,
sir.
pace was good. I think I set my fastest lap on primes. It felt great around here.
I assumed you were on options the whole time, given your pace. But yeah, I think you set almost an acceptable qualifying time. I think it was a 1:43.8 or something of the like.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is absurd. How do you do it? Is there like what do you eat for breakfast in the morning? Like that's got
Wheaties.
to be key.
I've
He has
done
his own
quite a few.
box.
He should be
I've
put
done
on the
quite a few
box now.
champs in these cars, so I'm pretty familiar now with what I have to do to get it to feel right for me. Um, so yeah, I think it suits my style. Um, yeah, just really like the car. Pretty comfortable with it. Congrats to the other podium finishers too. Great to see you guys up here.
Heck yeah. All right, one final
It's
question.
wild.
Where does the 77 come from in Jeff H 77?
Oh, there's a punk band, Clash, and that's like is it the year of their first record, I think? It was kind of like the year that punk took off, so that's just been a number that I really like.
Heck yeah. That is a way better story than the one I came up with, which is just you felt like 77 and thus 77. That
At least it's
is
not my birthday year. No offense to, anybody, but
that's what it's one of my friends in the Twitch chat was like, maybe it was 77. I was like, I don't know. You don't sound like someone who was born in 1977. Your voice sounds a little bit younger than that.
yeah, a little bit, a couple years at least.
Couple years younger than that. Well,
Yeah,
congrats on the championship, of course. Congrats on another victory. I'm sure you're not going to slow down. And well, we look forward to seeing you turn left next week.
looking forward to it. Thanks so much. Appreciate the broadcast.
Mr. Second Place Merchant, living up to the name
Hello.
in absolute style.
Yeah, finally.
Welcome back to. I don't want to say where you belong. That sounds a little bit mean, but where you self-appointed.
Yeah. Finally broke the Pacheco curse, so feels good. Um, yeah. This race was pretty straightforward for me. Didn't really have to do a whole lot. I really tried to make it a two-stop race, but I started fuel saving just a little too late and needed to pop into the pits like 4 more laps of fuel. So overall, it was pretty uneventful for me.
Yeah, I mean it was a little give and take there at the start, a little bit of fighting for you, but you seemed reasonably comfortable. I mean, did you
I knew
enjoy?
Pacheco couldn't sustain it.
I think maybe just a bit, maybe just a bit. Did you enjoy the car around Suzuka? It looked like it was a lot of fun.
Well, um, like I said in the voice chat, I hate Spoon Corner. So, um,
Y'all hate Spoon Corner.
other than that, it was fine around here.
Well, that's good. No, Spoon Corner sucks. I don't like it. I don't
It
know how to
does.
do it.
It does.
It's fun in like like a go kart because you're going in at about 3 miles an hour and you're like, yeah, I can figure this out now. But at 170, that's just silly.
Yeah.
It was a good circuit. I created a drinking game that I don't think anybody followed, which was every time someone spun at the hairpin, it was to take a shot. I think it probably got up to
Oh,
eight, or
nice.
it probably got up to 8 or 9. I don't think you ended up in any sort of peril at the hairpin.
I did not.
But that's the name of the game, I think, in these cars is keep it between the white lines and keep it out of the wall.
I agree.
Are you planning on joining us for the finale? Or lots of
Yes, I will be
lefts?
there. I will be there.
Well, certainly look forward to that. I'm debating doing a surprise appearance on the grid and attempting to commentate from probably the back, but we'll see. We'll see.
That would be quite the experience.
Their driver's eye view for the first and last time, or more specifically, what it looks like when you hit the wall 18 times. I think last time I did Auto Club, I went through 7 engines, so we'll see.
Oh wow.
We'll see. Well, welcome back to second place, Mr. Second Place Merchant. Thank you for being here. Congrats on a
Thank
really
you.
solid
Thank you.
result, and we look forward to seeing you next
I
week.
appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Mr. Pacheco, whether or not you were aware, I was cheering you on the entire race. I was willing you onto the podium because you
My man.
often qualify so well. I'm like, he's got pace. But you and our good friend Barry R seem to want to hang out a lot. But
Yeah.
today was the day. Phenomenal
Today was
drive.
a good day, man. it was all strategy. Unfortunately, I gave away position to second place, trying to do a little fuel management coming out of the safety car, and tried to get more life out of the tires, but the tires just fell off way quicker than I thought they were going to. So I ended up should have just gone full fuel, went low fuel, and lost a couple positions, but stayed on the strategy and it worked, man. I went I think I went options, primary options for the last 8 laps, and got me back up a couple spots there.
How
Unfortunately,
big?
Sloth had a little spin out,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna say, how big was your sigh of relief when you realized you didn't have to overtake either of them?
well, it wasn't even that. It was sigh of relief, yes, for podium, but I mean, Matty Ice was on me the entire last like 4 or 5 laps. I mean, he was within a second or two. I don't know what the exact time was, but I just kept hearing crew chief telling me that he was right there. And then we got tangled up with a couple lap cars coming out of the hairpin. I got stuck behind trucks in history, and I'm not sure who he got stuck behind, but kind of killed our time and kind of killed that until the final safety car to finish it. But yeah, I was looking in my rear view more so, and then when I saw it was Sloth going through that turn, I was like, "Oh, that's P3." I was like, "All right, cool." So just keep your nerves.
And you kept it all the way
I got
through.
sloppy in the hairpin. Yeah, I got sloppy in the hairpin twice. I didn't lose it, but I got a little sideways twice coming out of that. But other than that, it was pretty clean, man. That's a fun track. I just love that track.
It's absolutely stellar. I think I like Fuji more though, as far as Japanese tracks, but
I would
it's
agree
just because
with
Fuji doesn't have spoon.
that.
It's entirely well. I don't know. The final corner on Fuji is almost spoon like, and that nobody knows how to do it, including myself. So,
Yeah,
but congrats on the podium, man. You freaking deserved it. That was a
I
heck of a
appreciate it, man.
performance and
Yeah,
one of the most awkward race finishes I've ever seen.
it was crazy.
But it was really funny. I had a good laugh, and it was a great race. So congrats to all three of you. I think
Appreciate it,
I
man.
think we've had a unique podium pretty much every round. Well, semi-unique.
Seems that way.
It's the Jeff H podcast, but
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, thank you all for being here, and we look forward to some left turns next week. And
Thanks for
maybe
broadcasting again.
We'll be there.
maybe I'll see you guys same place, same time next week. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Unless of course I'm on the podium, and then I got to interview myself, and then that's just the whole that's the
Hey,
whole
you
thing.
know, it's your podcast anyway, right?
Well, thank you again, guys. I'd be nowhere if I didn't have people doing the laps. So I appreciate all of you,
Awesome, brother. Appreciate you.
No problem.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and germs. That'll be it for this week's race, this week's episode, the penultimate round of the America's Racing League Indy Formula USA 2026 Season 1, to give it its full legal birth name. If you're interested in joining the series, there are still spots available. Who knows? There may be a surprise guest next week. I don't know. I haven't actually decided yet. Maybe. There are still spots available. All of that is on SimGrid. All of the information is in the, well, I was going to say in the description, but we're not on YouTube. It's somewhere. You can find us on SimGrid. Join the Discord, hang out with everybody. It is a wonderful little community of drivers and lots of wonderful events, not just AMS2. We have iRacing, ACC on console, lots and lots of LMU. Hopefully, more broadcasts will be happening more regularly. Not regularly on Twitch, but regularly on YouTube, because YouTube had the largest it's actually still down. I just looked. It's still down. All right. Well, at least I didn't do this all for nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. A wonderful pleasure, a wonderful race. Come back next week for the finale. I look forward to seeing you all then. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.